What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, September 25th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 14:08 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East and Eastern Europe. And also, once again, U.S. nuclear forces are on high alert. I know I say that a lot, but last night we had more high priority nuclear attack options broadcasted by U.S. strategic forces. So late last night, some Skymaster messages and possibly Sky King messages were broadcasted by U.S. nuclear forces. These are the highest priority nuclear attack options that are sent out to U.S. strategic forces. And the only thing that is higher priority than Skymaster and Sky King messages are the emergency war orders. Now, an emergency war order is literally the order to launch the nukes. Okay, so these are messages just below the launch order, and they were broadcasted last night, several of them. Now, I personally wasn't monitoring them, so I can't tell you the details, but people were telling me that another channel who happens to be a friend of mine, Duramax World News, was covering it. So check out Duramax World News. He does 24/7 live streams with the nuclear attack options broadcasting in the background, so you can listen to them. But we also have 3 B-52 nuclear bombers airborne right now this afternoon, which is a lot for this early in the afternoon. And we also have a nuclear war command and control plane that was up in the air. So here you can see the 3 B-52s, one over Oklahoma, 2 over Texas, and 1 over Texas actually got aerially refueled, which is very unusual. Okay, so we currently have 3 nuclear bombers airborne, guys, over the United States. And last night, the highest priority nuclear attack options being broadcasted to our bombers, to our subs, and to our silos. Now, in addition to that, today, Vladimir Putin said at a Russian National Security Council meeting on nuclear deterrence that Russia should consider an attack from a non-nuclear state with the help of a nuclear state as an attack by both, and thus respond to the attack by the non-nuclear state with nuclear deterrence measures. Okay, so here's the meeting. It was broadcasted by the Kremlin. Basically, this is about Ukraine. Okay, he's talking about if Ukraine does deep strikes on Russia with the help of the U.S. and Great Britain and France with their long-range missiles and their intelligence and reconnaissance and surveillance information, their satellites, everything, basically giving Ukraine all the information about the targets, helping Ukraine to carry out the strikes, and then giving them the long-range missiles. Russia is now going to consider that grounds for nuclear retaliation against either the non-nuclear state, which would be Ukraine, or the U.S. and Great Britain and France, which are the nuclear states. Okay, so this is extremely concerning. I cannot stress to you how serious this is. Okay, Putin meeting with his National Security Council, basically revising their nuclear doctrine to allow Russia to nuke Ukraine, possibly also nuke NATO and France, Great Britain, and the U.S. if Ukraine does these deep strikes on Russia, okay, with the JSAM missiles, which have a range of 500 miles, which would put all of Moscow inside of striking distance. And also the Scalp missiles and the Storm Shadow missiles also have like a 300 or 400 mile range. Here you can see Narishkin, Sergei Narishkin, who's the head of the KGB now, okay, sitting here at the table. Okay, if Narishkin is present, it means that it's a very, very serious meeting, okay? So this is extremely concerning. And this update was sponsored by Patriot Supply. Guys, Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1 month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1 month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. And yesterday, the president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, held a meeting with his top generals saying that they have to prepare for war. Okay, and yesterday, a Belarusian fighter jet flew into Ukrainian airspace. So guys, we are literally on the verge of nuclear war with Russia, and also Belarus has nuclear weapons now too. They could use them to strike their neighbors. Okay, so things are really spiraling out of control. And Britain's foreign ministry said late Tuesday that it was sending military teams to Cyprus as it prepares contingency plans for its citizens in Lebanon as the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah rages. Around 700 British troops will move to Cyprus in the coming hours, the ministry said, urging British nationals to leave Lebanon immediately. Okay, so Britain announcing that they're going to be sending troops, and this came just hours after the Pentagon said that they were sending troops to the Eastern Mediterranean to help with evacuating personnel and U.S. citizens. Okay, so this is extremely serious, guys. Something is about to go down in the coming hours or days. My guess is after the UN General Assembly ends this week, I think we could see all of these different war fronts pop off, especially Israel and Hezbollah. It looks like Israel is preparing for a massive ground invasion of Lebanon. And the BBC News is reporting that warnings have been sent to people in Beirut to evacuate certain areas of the capital. Beirut is the capital of Lebanon. And Hezbollah launched a ballistic missile towards Tel Aviv for the first time ever, and it was shot down by the Israeli David's Sling Arrow 2 air defense system last night. So this is crazy, guys. The first time that Hezbollah ever launched a missile towards Tel Aviv, and the Israeli Broadcasting Authority is reporting that the Israeli army is preparing for a possible ground invasion in Lebanon. We also have some footage of more Israeli Merkava battle tanks moving north towards Lebanon, and Russia has called on its citizens to immediately leave Lebanon. And what you're looking at here is a publication from the Israeli Defense Force, from the Arab spokesman for the Israeli Defense Force, stating that residents of Lebanon should immediately evacuate from their homes and other buildings across the country if they are located near sites where Hezbollah weapons are being stored. Okay, so telling people in Lebanon to move away from Hezbollah weapons sites. So what Israel is doing is they're softening up Hezbollah. Okay, first they started with the pager attack. They detonated 4,000 pagers and critically injured hundreds and hundreds of Hezbollah operatives. Now they're going after the weapons sites, okay, the rocket launchers, the storage depots. Next, they're going to go in on the ground, but first they're going to soften them up with continuous bombardment with airstrikes, and then they're going to go in on the ground. So I think this ground invasion is imminent, and when that happens, I do believe Iran is going to try to jump in. Here we have some video footage coming out of Lebanon. You can see massive traffic jams as Lebanese people flee the border area with Israel. Look at this traffic jam, guys. People are fleeing because they know it's about to turn into a major war zone, okay? And the Israeli army is telling residents of Lebanese border villages not to return to their homes. And the chief of the IDF Northern Command, Major General Ori Gordon, says the military needs to be strongly prepared for a ground offensive against Hezbollah in Lebanon. He said, quote, "We have entered another phase of the campaign. The operation began with a very significant blow to Hezbollah's capabilities with an emphasis on rocket capabilities, and a very significant blow to the commanders and members of the organization. We need to change the security situation. We need to be very strongly prepared to enter in a ground maneuver," he added. Okay, so very serious situation, guys. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has decided to leave on Thursday morning from Israel for his speech to the UN General Assembly on Friday, with him set to return to Israel on Saturday night. So nothing is going to happen, in my opinion, until potentially Saturday night or Sunday. And Egypt, Jordan, and Iraq issued a joint statement stating that Israel is dragging the region into an all-out war, and 1,500 Hezbollah fighters are now out of action due to injuries from the communication device blasts last week. And Iran has brokered ongoing secret talks between Russia and the Houthis to transfer anti-ship missiles to the Houthis, 3 Western and regional sources say, according to Reuters. So Russia is planning to send the Houthis anti-ship missiles, and here we have video footage of those Merkava battle tanks heading up north towards the Lebanon border. Okay, in this video alone, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Merkava tanks here heading northward. And last night, China tested an ICBM off the coast of Taiwan. The Chinese People's Liberation Army Rocket Force on Wednesday launched an intercontinental ballistic missile which successfully carried a dummy warhead to the international waters of the Pacific Ocean, the Chinese Defense Ministry said. Wow, that is very, very concerning. And Zelensky's stance on forcing Russia to make peace is a fatal mistake and will have consequences for Ukraine, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on September 25th, according to Russia's state-owned IRA Novosti outlet. Peskov's statement comes after Zelensky's speech at the UN General Assembly in New York, in which he said that Russian President Vladimir Putin had violated so many international laws that he would not stop on his own, so Russia could only be forced into peace. In my view, this stance is a fatal mistake, a systemic mistake. This is a profound misconception, which of course will inevitably have consequences for Ukraine, Peskov said in an answer to a question about Zelensky's speech. Peskov said that Russia could not be forced into peace, adding that Moscow is allegedly committed to peace. So very concerning words there from Dmitry Peskov. And a Russian warship reportedly fired warning shots at a Norwegian fishing boat during the joint Russian-Chinese naval exercise Ocean 24 this month in Norway's exclusive economic zone. The incident, which occurred in the Barents Sea north of Vardo on September 12th, has raised concerns about maritime safety and the impact of military exercises on civilian vessels. Norwegian publication Fri Fagbevegelse first reported the incident, which was later picked up by the Norwegian state-owned broadcaster NRK. According to the reports, Øystein Orton, a crew member of the 15-meter-long Norwegian-flagged fishing vessel Ragnhild Christenum, received a radio message from the Russian warship Admiral Levchenko stating, "This is a Russian warship, you need to leave the area." The Russian destroyer explained they were conducting a live firing practice. Orton, however, refused to move, citing the need to haul their fishing lines. The situation escalated when the 163-meter-long Russian warship reportedly approached the fishing boat at high speed. Orton reported that the warship fired a cannon which could be felt on the board of the vessel. Although not directly hit, the crew agreed to leave the area under what Orton described as voluntary coercion. The Norwegian Defense Forces confirmed they were aware of the incident. Vegard Finnberg, press officer at the Norwegian Armed Forces Operational Headquarters, stated they were aware of the dialogue between Norwegian-flagged Reinhold Christine and a Russian warship practicing in an announced area. The incident occurred in the Norwegian Exclusive Economic Zone, which is also considered international waters. While military exercises are permitted in these waters, Norwegian vessels are not obliged to leave areas in the Norwegian Economic Zone during such exercises. The event has sparked debate about the conduct of military exercises in economically important fishing areas. Norway must set stricter requirements that exercises should not burden Norwegian industry or civilian vessels. They should not be allowed to close Norwegian fishing areas, Orton asserted. The incident reportedly cost the fishing crew around 100,000 NOK in lost catch. Wow, very concerning, guys. So a Russian warship bullying a Norwegian fishing vessel, firing a cannon towards them, telling them to turn back from Norway's exclusive economic zone. Absolutely insane. Russia is really testing the limits. And last night we had more reconnaissance in Europe and Eastern Europe. Here you can see a U.S. aerial refueler active in the North Sea this afternoon. And more reconnaissance in Poland and the Baltics. Here we have a Swedish reconnaissance plane flying along the Polish-Russian border and the Polish-Belarus border. Here we have a NATO aerial refueler looping over the Baltic Sea just south of Sweden. Here we have an Italian reconnaissance plane that spent several hours over the Baltic countries, and also a U.S. Army Chinook that took off from the Powice Air Base in Poland and flew through the Suwałki Gap towards Lithuania. And last night, during those Skymaster messages, we had this nuclear war command and control plane off the coast of California. And interestingly, we also had a sub-hunter way out in the Pacific off the coast of Washington, and it was actually aerially refueled as well, which is very unusual. Here's a closer look at that. You can see they were several hundred miles offshore. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on with another update, and of course, if anything happens, I will go live and cover it for you. I will be restarting the 24/7 streams very soon so we can monitor the nuclear forces and flights and live cameras, and I'll have live updates posted to the 24/7 streams periodically. I do have my own radio system here with a 400-foot long antenna in my backyard to monitor the nuclear forces radio frequencies, and I do have that piped into the 24/7 streams. So 100% reliability, not dependent on anybody else but myself. I got my own system here to monitor them, and you can tune into that for free by watching my streams. So until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.